All right, what's going on? Back for another episode here of Higher Bracket Podcast. Just gonna kind of get into the new year here. Got us a new little setup, a little bit more comfortable, and I think it looks a lot better. But that's neither here nor there. So yeah, new year, first podcast of the new year. So, well, how you feeling about things so far?
Well, we got us a new president.
We did. Yeah.
Trump's back in office.
Yeah.
So hopefully things will turn around with the economy. Of course, it's going to take time. Nothing's going to happen overnight. So, you're probably looking at a year before you start seeing some changes.
Right.
I think that's pretty exciting.
Yeah. What I like the best about all that right now is we actually have leadership up there and not just a bunch of bumbling idiots making us look like fools on the world stage, I guess you'd say. So that's
that's to say the fucking least right there.
I mean, that's to me, that's one of the most exciting things. Of course, a businessman, people can say what they want about him, but people that are talking shit don't have billions of dollars either. So, but yeah, no, it's exciting to see what comes down the line on that. So I think he's going to make a lot of things happen.
Yeah, I think it'll be very good for entrepreneurs and people to looking to start a business. So I think, that's going to be very, very helpful with him in office.
Yeah.
I know last time he was in office, everything was going great. Business was booming. Opportunities everywhere. And then we kind of fell off into this cliff of, I'm not even sure I even have a word to describe what the fuck we just went through in the last 4 years.
Yeah.
I'll be nice about it and just say disaster.
It was disaster. And I will say in 2016, from 16 to 20 is, that's when I made my first 7 figures. And you have to have the right leadership with the right economic climate to be able to do that. You can play politics all day long, but if the man in charge don't know what the hell he's doing, then it's going to affect all of us. So, I'm looking forward to it. And even though it feels like the economy's down right now, where it is, we're coming off a disaster. That's almost the best time to start anything, in my opinion. I started my first company, or we both started that company when we were just coming out of 2008 recession.
Yeah, I think a recession is actually the best time to start a business. Honestly, there's just a lot of opportunities and stuff to that nature that present themselves versus a boom time. What do you think about his policies that he's thinking about implementing?
I think a lot of the tariff talk is just to get people to the table. I think he knows that these folks are gonna play ball once they get to the table. I think a lot of that is just a lot of posturing, but at the same time, they know he'll do it.
Right.
And a tariff,
he's shown that.
A tariff does not bother me. You hear a lot of people. Of course, the mainstream media has pushed all this tariff narrative, how it's going to wreck us and this and that. No, because the thing, like we are the badasses here, and people want to do business with us. So if you've got a country, China or any other country that most of their GDP is dependent on the United States, they're going to play ball. So I think that him even I wish he'd put 400% tariffs on stuff, because you would get stuff done a lot quicker. Now I don't think he's going to be as extreme as what he campaigned on. I think he'll have to roll it in slower, but it's just his way of getting people to the table.
Yeah, I'd like to see when it comes to manufacturing. The problem is, when you have the world's reserve currency, it's kind of hard to not import. Because you got to look at the petrodollar and how everything rotates around that. You got the BRICS nation. They are looking to get into to diversify away from the dollar. A lot of things that sped that up was when he started putting all them tariffs, or they started freezing people's money, like Russia. That really sped that process up. So I think you have a competing currency now, or will. That's not good, but that's from the previous administration doing dumb shit that's going to come back around on us.
Yeah. Well, there's going to be some growing pains. We're going to have to go through some stuff to get, you don't go through 4 years of an administration trying to destroy your country. They did everything in their power if it was an enemy, that's what the enemy would do, is what they did.
An infiltration instead of invasion.
We were occupied, and it's going to be some bumps and some blood and some tears to get over all that. I think it's going to be good, but it's going to take some time, like we said. But now I'll tell you one thing that I'm also excited about that is coming quick. I think is the end of all this woke bullshit. The narrative is changing. People are actually talking about things more now, just out in the real world. So I'm very excited about that. I'm very excited. And it's a shame that he had to go on national TV on a presidential address and say that there are two genders. It's a shame that we even got there, but we allowed that. Us as people allowed that to happen, and we cannot do that again. If something's not right, it's not right. So I'm looking forward to all this woke bullshit coming to an end as well.
Hey, did you know that we went back to having two genders too? Ain't that
right.
something?
Yeah, it's amazing. It's absolutely amazing. So,
going back to the last recession, the financial crisis in 2007, 2008, I know we started a business, and we started a partnership with that. Where do you feel like you learned at that point, as far as at that particular time?
Well,
some of the beginning lessons of that partnership. What do you feel that you learned the most?
I was thinking, I'll answer your question, but I was thinking the other day when I was driving home, I was riding to the house, and I got to thinking, either since 2008, either us together, us with other partners, or us on independent projects, we've had our hand in 15 companies. I'm pretty sure I counted that right. And I will say one of the things that I have learned even more recently than not is when you're an entrepreneur and you like making deals like we do, and you like doing more than just one thing, you cannot jam pieces together. Like, you can't make shit happen until it's time to happen or it needs to happen. And I've been guilty in the past of either talking with somebody or getting an idea and just, all right, let's start executing, bam, 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 and not sitting back and thinking, well, hold up just a minute. These 5 things need to line up before we even do X, Y, and Z. So for me,
but
that's been one of my biggest learning lessons.
Well, I think that's part of getting your knowledge down.
Yeah. So, but I it just, when I brought it back into perspective of 2 guys in 2008 that didn't have 2 damn pennies to rub together, for lack of a better term.
That was the damn truth right there.
15 years later, we've had our hands in 15 companies that have employed people, that have, AR, payables, tax. The real deal shit. This is no just buy podcast equipment and get on here and act like we know what we're doing. And there's still a lot more to learn, but we've actually done some shit, and I'm proud of that. And I just got to thinking about it the other night, and it kind of put it in perspective for me. Well, what's one of your takeaways of over the last 15 years?
In the beginning, very exciting. As you get older, you don't quite get as excited, especially getting a new business off the ground. To me, that's exciting. Once it's up and going, it's just time to hire a manager to run it and start something else, because once you get it up and going and everything falls into place and it's making money, it's just time to the excitement is gone for me, I get more excitement off of making something from absolute nothing. We learned a lot of lessons. I know that I have, especially from the first business that was started, just the failures and how much the lesson stuck with me. I think that, it was very, very good knowledge in those failures. It's just made me, better at business and better at just being a person altogether. Really helped me grow as a person. So there's some that things I've tackled with partners and things that I've went on my own and done. So there's just a wealth of information. And once once I got my formula down, I mean, it was just easy.
Yeah.
It's just, once you have it, I can't even begin to say or to tell you how the saying is, the first million's the hardest, the next 10 are easy. There's nothing more true to that.
Yeah, it's yeah.
Once you hit that million, just so many opportunities open up.
Yeah, yeah. But now I will say, preface to all that, yeah, we've had our hand in 15 companies, but you're looking at two guys that's also failed at companies too. Whether it be it just didn't take off, there wasn't enough applied to it because we had other shit going on, or we decided that we had a profitable company, but we decided it wasn't the right time and we needed to cease operations. So the way to success is to increase your failure rate, because you don't learn anything when you're successful. You learn shit whenever stuff's not going good, and you learn stuff when you make mistakes. So to be scared of failure, you might as well just stay where you're at, because that ain't gonna work.
Speaking of that, I remember it got real slow. We were starting a business and it was starting to gain some ground, and all of a sudden, I don't know if it was just a time of year at that particular time, but it got real slow, and we decided to start another business while we had downtime. And as soon as we bought everything and got it set up, the other business took back off, and we never got to materialize in it. That was years ago, but that was a strong lesson. Knowing, we should have just stuck with it, but you got to learn somehow.
And I'll go a step further on the partnership thing. Another thing that I've learned, that probably, I tell people this, but I'm being 100% honest, it probably left on the sale of my first company, it probably left at least $1 million on the table, is delegation. You've got to know, and like I said, I hurt myself and I hurt my potential by trying to keep such a tight grip on everything in a business. And one man can only do so much, and you have to delegate. You have to, or you're going to stay the same size.
So you feel like you really left $1 million on the table
100%.
with that particular one?
I 100% believe I did. And it was just because I was so afraid to let go of responsibilities. And I've learned, that's one of my hardest lessons to learn. It's like everything we got going on now, other people are handling shit, and it doesn't bother me like it did that first go around. So
when talking about partnerships, what do you think makes a good partner? What do you look for?
Well,
I mean, there's so it's either going to work or it's not, but you want to get the right partner.
I think
because we've all had bad partners and we've all had good partners.
Yeah. I think my view on that is a lot different than it was. I think now it's more of a grand scope of things. It's like, you can find somebody with work ethic like you got that can make it happen. You can find somebody with business history, a successful business history. But really, you got to look at everything, because you get into a partnership on a business. I mean, you might as well get married and lay in bed with these people. So you've got to really do your due diligence on every aspect of that person. And a lot of it is, what's going on in their personal life that's directly affecting their business life.
Let's say a guy started a business and he was looking for a partner and he came to you. What do you think you would ask him? You know, what kind of questions would you ask him if he was looking for a partner?
Well, I'd first trying to see like where's he trying to go with his company. You know, what's his 5-year outlook? What's his long-term outlook on it? Then I would have to, you know, obviously if I didn't know this person, this was a complete stranger, the books are going to do the talking a lot of times.
That's very true.
I would have
That
to,
is very
I would
true.
have to really now, and I'm not saying just show me a P&L. If somebody wants a partnership from me from this day forward, just like I said, lessons learned, I want complete access. I'll sign NDAs all day long. I want complete access to bank accounts. I want complete access to all books, and I want complete access to all tax returns.
You gonna go back a couple years?
At least 3. And
I think that's a good number.
I want full transparency of all that stuff because, as we know now, you can hide a lot of stuff in books on first glance that you do not see unless you're in there digging for hours and hours and looking and
yeah, them
going
bank
back,
statements don't lie.
yeah, and going and credit. And I want credit card statement. Like for me to come on board with somebody these days, it's going to take a lot more than what it ever did in the past. Just over the last 15 years of what I've learned dealing with other folks.
You know, there's private equity firms and stuff like that. They go back. I mean, they're doing 6 months of due diligence and negotiating before they even make an offer. I mean, it could take up to a year, if not a little longer, to sell a company. Mm-hmm. And I mean, shit, they every day they're wanting something.
Yeah.
You know, their lawyers and their accountants and auditors are just, you know, digging so deep. Now, that's on bigger transactions. And some companies are a lot more simpler to audit and read their books than others, depending on how, you know, complicated and depending on what the business type.
Yeah.
So, you know, so what would you look at? Looking at that is what you're looking at in a partner. What are you looking for as an investor? If an investor is looking for funds or funding?
I don't know. I guess it'd have to be, I mean, you know, I haven't done as much of the investing type thing. I've just done more of the partnership thing. I guess there again, it would be, well, and if somebody comes for an investment, I need to hold something in my hand. Like I can't go off of a PowerPoint and a projection.
Gotta love him PowerPoints.
I need something to hold. I need to be able to call and purchase a service with these people. I need to be able to call and purchase a product with these people. I need to be able to do something with these people that are asking for the funds.
What if they only have an idea?
Man, it'd have to be a really, really good. It'd have to be a really good one. I mean, it would have to be something that just blows my mind. And I'm not opposed to that at all. But really, I would be so much harder on myself now moving forward, which would make it harder on the potential investment or partnership to get going. But I feel I have to start doing that to protect myself. Because, you know, once you sign and you start doing something, I mean, that's energy expenditure that you are going to give to this project.
Well, I think there's a flip side to that. Things that I thought would take off didn't take off, and things that I thought were not a good idea actually are the ones that took off. I mean, there's a lot of things that I wish I would have invested in looking back at it, but there's a lot of things I'm glad I didn't.
Yeah.
But I remember there's one that sticks out to mind. I was approached to invest in this company. They provided a cream So if you're, older and you're sore, you got arthritis, you rub it on your hands and stuff. I wish that I would have invested in it. I decided against it, but now that stuff's everywhere. And it would have, at the time, it would have been, a relatively small investment. I mean, for $20,000 or $50,000, I mean, hell,
Right.
it could have been worth millions today. It's one of those ones that got away, but it ain't the first, and it won't be the last.
Well, I don't have any of those. I've got several that I should have said no to, because really a lot of times saying no is honestly the best, sometimes is the best business deal you could ever make.
Speaking of that investment, I believe I did ask you at that point in time to come to it, and you just didn't make it to the meeting.
Yeah, I didn't. No,
Maybe you could have talked some sense into me.
yeah, I don't know.
Maybe not. Maybe you would have
It's
been
hard
like
to,
the same thing.
it's hard to say, which I go back, I do a lot of coulda, woulda, shoulda stuff, but every mistake that I've made, even though at the time it was like, well, damn, that was stupid. It's led me to where I am today. So I can't really knock them too bad, other than try to help somebody else learn from it and not have those commas and zeros behind it. So I know you were approached pretty recently about a partnership. I mean, what was your thoughts on that deal? Like, what went through your thought process on that?
As I've gotten older, it's kind of like, either it happens or it don't. It don't bother me either way. I was approached. It was a new concept for this particular guy, and his company's taken off. It's got a bunch of potential. I could have jump started that company and made it where in a couple months he's already 5, 6, 7 years ahead,
If not more.
But he decided he didn't want to give up the certain percentage that I was asking for. But I was willing to invest more than what the company's worth. So what I was asking for percentage wise, nothing too crazy. I didn't think was out of line.
Well, and that's another thing too, guys. Whenever I'm talking to y'all here, if y'all want to try to raise capital and you want to get into a partnership, you've got to understand that, especially something that started, it ain't worth nothing. It ain't worth nothing. And if you've got somebody willing to give you 6, 7 figures on something, don't get caught up in the little minute bullshit. Like, yeah, a large percentage of your company might hurt a little bit off the top, but think 10 years down the road. Think 8 figures down the road. That percentage, that's nothing.
Well, in 5 years, it would have more than doubled what it was currently worth. He would have ended up so much farther ahead, and he would have been making so much more money.
Yeah.
Is really what the great scheme of things is.
At the end of the day, it's not. And I know you're watching, so don't think we're sitting here flaming you, but we're just talking, all right? So we still love you, and you're doing a damn good job. But, it's I really would have loved to have seen that come together, but it didn't. So, but it's all good. We'll move on to the next one.
Let's talk mentors. I think everybody needs a mentor, and the value that they bring.
Yeah, they do.
For just a personal building and business building, to have somebody that's already made so many mistakes that can save you from making the same mistakes, which it saves you thousands of dollars when you're starting out, but in the future can save you millions of dollars. Just in lessons that they've learned that you don't really necessarily have to pay to learn.
Man, the whole mentor thing, it gets me fired up, because when me and you were starting, dude, there was none of this internet like it is now, where you could pop on and find every Joe Schmo that says he can do this and do that. Now, there's some good guys on the internet that, you can pay and you can learn from them. But when we started, man, it was not like that. And I tell people all the time, and I'm not tooting our own horns here. I'm not. We've just done it. Like, we've done this shit, and to have opportunities to be around two seasoned business owners, I would have given a lot in 2008, 2009 to have somebody like that in my corner, and I would have used that resource to the 1,000th percentile, because that's how important it is to be around people that's already been where you are and has done what you've done and knows where you're going and is where you're going. And then on top of all that, not only can they help you and save you a lot of money, the potential business opportunities that come from a mentor are unbelievable. I mean, you can't put a price tag on something like that. So
It took me a while to find one.
I still ain't found one.
But it was a wealth of knowledge just from this particular fella. And he's not worth hundreds of millions of dollars. I mean, he's probably worth, I don't know, 50. But, he has helped me out with a lot of information and has helped me see several things that brought several things to light that I was not thinking about in the past.
Yeah.
I don't get to talk to him as much as I used to, but it's very comforting because he's always got an answer for one of my questions.
Yeah, no, it's key. It's key to have. And like I said, I say I have mentors that don't even know me, because I do consume a lot of content from guys that are up there, and I listen to what they're saying. But as far as a personal mentor, I have not yet landed on that person. I look for that person, and I hope that person, I can run across that person one day. But for all you young folks out there, if you've got somebody around you that sees in you what nobody else sees in you, dude, listen to that person and keep that person close, because they will help you.
Let's talk about a different mentorship here. Let's talk about fatherhood and how it plays a part in, or just parenting in general plays a part in the growing and mentorship of your kids.
Well, I think a lot of people get, and especially in our generation, I think a lot of people get a parent and a friend mixed up.
I would say that's pretty damn accurate. Being friends instead of damn parents.
Your parents are not your friends. They're not supposed to be your friends. They're supposed to tell you where you're about to fuck up. And if they don't, they're doing you a disservice. And even though you don't like it at the time, when you get older in life, you will thank them every single day for staying on you. My work ethic and my attention to detail came from no other place than my dad. I mean, and at the time, I'm like, why does this matter? Why is he flipping shit about this or this? But I understand now. It's very important, and that's where a lot of people our age that's got
you can be their friend when they're grown.
Yeah, like that's got the 12 through 16-year-old kids now. People in our age demographic, and they're not doing them any favors.
Speaking of childhood, we didn't have this issue because there wasn't social media or anything like that, but they didn't really play a part. We were always outside getting muddy, riding bikes. Kids don't want to come out of the house these days. How much of an influence and how much delusional images do you think that social media has had on the young generation? I mean, my kids don't have social media, so I can't really speak to, and they're younger and they won't get that shit until they're probably 17 or 18. But just let's talk about the teenagers. The depression and stuff that it causes because of all the non-reality stuff that's put on there. Yeah, I mean, for fuck's sake, people are going to studios where it's set up look like a damn jet, and all it
Yeah.
is for a photo prop. And
That shit right there.
posting stuff that is not real, that's unrealistic.
That shit right there is out of hand, man. Because like when we were growing up, you know, when we were riding our bikes around or something, and you see a Lamborghini or a Ferrari roll up, it was something to behold, because you knew that dude has got it going on. And now these kids get online and they see that shit post after post after post, and half of it, I'd say more than 90% of it, is fake bullshit. And then they go back and then they start having doubts and delusions in their mind of, well, my life's terrible. My life's not doing this. I'm not doing that. I'm so far behind. Well, no, not really, because that motherfucker
He's living the same life. He's
just rented a car and has got a social media following.
and selling a delusion.
It's crazy, man. It's insane. Yeah, I think anybody that has a child that just gives them free reign of social media under the age of 18 is doing a huge discredit to their child. A huge discredit.
Just the depression. I know you've seen it in the headlines and stuff. Kids getting depressed over just social media and like the bullying. I can't even say
Bullying.
it. Bullying.
Yeah.
That's happening to them, where they end up taking their own life. Just straight dumb shit that don't need to fucking happen.
Yeah. And another thing about this whole social media stuff, this is where entrepreneurship started to become trendy, right? So everybody's too good to work. Now all these kids are too good to work a job. They don't want to start from the bottom. They just want to be here where they see all these other entrepreneurs online. There again, that's all. A majority of that is bullshit.
And all of them think that they could just get this following, and some of them do. Very few of them do, are actually making money off their, whatever TikTok reels and stuff like that. Very few of them are making money, but those are the ones that they tend to clinch to.
Yeah.
Because you've got, millions of them out here trying to make that happen, and it's just unrealistic.
Yeah, it is. And
You can't make a living by just shooting reels to your average person.
Now, can a successful social media content creator be considered an entrepreneur?
I think so, to a certain degree, depending on, do they have a message, or are they just posting a bunch of bullshit? I'll tell you, if I pull up at the gas station, I see a Lamborghini beside me, I'm not worried about him or the car. I'm worried about putting gas in my damn car. I don't really give a shit what they're doing.
Well, it's like I feel like some very select few people that are on social media that say they have a business or an entrepreneur, and they've never had to meet a payroll a day in their life. They've never had to run an AR, on terms, 30, 60, 90-day terms, waiting on their money to come in. They've never had 2 or 3 employees call out on a day when you're set to be busy as hell. They've never had none of that. Now, you can, yes, I think you can be an entrepreneur on social media, yes, but just be very leery of who you take advice from. You're going to take advice from somebody that's had a microphone in front of their face. I mean, they don't know the ins and outs of what it really takes to be out here in the streets and doing this small business deal.
Right. Well, most of them are young, and they wouldn't have the first clue about that. They get on there and just start shooting the reels and talking about, whatever they're trying to talk about, depending on, subject or, their following or whatever. But, I think all this is possible because we do have a generation that's growing up of not many leaders and a bunch of followers.
Well, yeah, that's true.
You see all these kids that are actually making money, and they're blowing it on big houses and sports cars and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. They're going to be broke if they don't wise up and pay attention and invest their shit, because nothing lasts forever.
No. But at the same time, yeah, I agree with you 100% on that. But at the same time, I think it is somewhat of a duty, to show the younger generation what is actually possible. I mean, if cars is your thing, if cars is not your thing, then that's fine. But, you know, say if cars is somebody's thing, well, I mean, show these guys like you can go out here and you can work hard and you can obtain what you want. You can obtain your goals and your dreams. So I think I think it's important to show that at here and there, you know, to show them what's actually possible. And I don't necessarily care anything about being on social media, but I have had to come to terms with the businesses that I'm in now, that how powerful of a marketing tool it is. So I've had to take a hard look at myself and step away from being anti-social media.
Well, it's not that anti-social media. I guess what the point I was getting to is it could be so powerful and useful in so many ways, but it could be so negative.
Yeah, it's
and in so many other ways.
It's a double-edged
depending on
sword.
how it's used.
Yeah,
So it's got a lot of potential, but it's got a lot of evil.
yeah.
You know, unfortunately, you know, you got to separate that. But not that I'm totally against it, but I think that for what kids use it for, they don't use it for. They use it to keep up with each
Yeah.
other, which, you know, it don't matter what Johnny is doing down the street. Or,
That's true. Yeah.
You know, Kim's doing it. That shit don't matter.
In my opinion, if you're not using social media for business, you don't need to be on it.
I agree.
I mean, point blank, period. But I just know how much bullshit the younger generation is absorbing on there, and that's why we're on here. Listen, one of you motherfuckers are going to listen to us, and you're going to make something of yourself, and that's the only reason we're doing this. Because for every two of us that's actually been out here and done it, there's thousands online that you have access to that ain't doing a damn thing in their life, that you're listening to every whim and every word they say and hang on to everything they say. So just be careful of that.
What do you think about the young generation? You know, they want it all now, like instant gratitude.
Well, I mean,
what are your thoughts? Because our generation wasn't like that, and it's like generation, like the later millennials and the Generation Zers. It's like they want instant gratification.
well, I mean, can you really blame them? I mean, look at the society they're growing up in. Everything now is a push of a button and stuff appears in front of your face. So I'm not necessarily faulting them.
Well, I think it's more like, you know, a lot of the work ethic ain't there.
Well, a lot of work ethic's not
and then
there.
they've got these demands.
Well, it's kind of the same reason. It is their fault, but it's kind of the societal way that things have been going. Is they see what they see and what is reality is two different damn things. And you're right, though. Nobody wants to start from nothing. Like I started at $5.05 an hour at a grocery store, but I knew that this was just a stepping stone. Like all these young kids these days think that if they're clocking in somewhere, that's just the end all be all and that's all their life's ever going to be. Like,
Well, you're never going to have anything
like use
that.
that shit as a stepping stone and move up, move up, move up. And I'll tell you another thing that I don't see anymore is, and I'll straight up toot my own damn horn here, because we probably both could say this, but it didn't matter what my job was, whether it was my school year job or my summer job. I was the best damn employee at that job at that time that I was there.
You know, I go back and forth with that. I've had some good bosses when I was younger, and when they always appreciated me and, you know, let me know, hey, you're doing a good job and I appreciate what you do. Man, I work my fucking ass off for them. But there's some bosses that I had when I was younger that, you know, they just didn't give a shit. Mm-hmm. So therefore I didn't give a shit. So, you know, that goes into, you know, leadership. You know, if you can be a good leader, I mean, you will have a crew of people working their straight ass off.
Yeah.
Because they do not want to let you down, because they know, and you let them know that you depend on them.
Mm-hmm.
to work as a team and make stuff happen.
Yeah, no, and that's true. And how you get these young kids to understand that you got to start somewhere. You got to start at, you ain't going to start making 60 grand a year right out of damn college, 70, 80 grand a year right out of college. You might go to college. That's a whole different damn
Well, hopefully
topic,
your ass won't be in $200,000 of debt.
I don't even promote or condone college. That's a whole different topic for a whole different podcast.
We got some of the best educated servers
Yeah, but
right here in Middle Tennessee.
I guess my whole point of that is you got to start. You got to start at the bottom, man, and it's just the way it is. But do the best you can possibly do at each stepping stone, and the momentum will grow.
Learn as much as you can,
and you learn a lot what not to do. You learn, and I learned how to be a leader from working for all these people. I learned how to, and that's the thing is like when
the good and the bad.
Yeah, like I employ people and I treat people the same way as I would want to be treated. I know that's cliche, but it's true because I've worked for so many different people through my life that I don't forget, and I never will forget what it was like to punch that time clock. Right. I just won't. I won't never forget it. I will never forget it.
I bet you can still hear that noise.
And it just, that's how I treat folks is like with respect and we're here to work together to accomplish a goal. You're not working for me and you're not, I don't have you under my thumb. And that kind of full circles back to partnerships about how you've got, if somebody wants to be a partner with you, you kind of really need, like what I was saying, do your due diligence on every aspect. Like, how does that person lead their company? Like, what is the culture like in that company? That tells you a lot about that person who you're thinking about going and being partners in. Watching how they treat other people tells you a whole lot.
I agree. Well, that should wrap it up today for Higher Bracket. Thank you for joining in. If you like what you hear, please like and subscribe.
And hit the like button, because that like button, I've been learning more about this YouTube shit, and the like button is very important for the algorithms. So just, if we say one thing that sparks your interest or gets you thinking or anything, I mean, if you think we're idiots, then that's fine. But if we entertained you or anything, it don't cost you nothing. Just hit the like button, because I want to push this out to more and more people, and we can get it better and better. So we're doing this with y'all.
Or if you have a subject you would like us to touch on, you can always comment. Yeah,
leave it in the comments. We'll always read it. I mean, hell, our deal is so small now. I mean, I'll look on it all the time. So any suggestions, anything you want us to speak on, questions, anything like that, leave it down there. Leave us a like, subscribe, and we're going to start pumping these out a lot more. We kind of had a lull there for a while. I ain't gonna lie, man. I don't like having a camera in front of my face ain't no big deal, but something about these microphones, man, it just it got me nervous at first, but we're gonna get over that.